Picture this. You're standing in the middle, okay? And around you are these vertical timelines, different versions of your life. Now, one timeline, that's you staying stuck in the conditioned patterns, the role you were told to play, the version of you that learnt to survive, to fit in, to be acceptable. That's not the real you, though. That's the protective shell you built. Another timeline, that's you remembering who you really are underneath all the conditioning, your true self. The one who's been buried under expectations, fears, and old programming. So, here's the thing, okay? Look, you're choosing which timeline you step into every single day. Every morning when you wake up, every time you make a decision, do you hit snooze and let all those conditioned patterns run the show? That's one timeline. Or do you get up with intention and give your true self space to emerge? Because that's a different timeline. It's not like you're becoming someone new. You're choosing whether you're going to keep living from the false identity or just really slowly uncover the true one. Your subconscious mind doesn't judge your thoughts and it doesn't question them, it just accepts them as instructions. And what most people don't realise is that a lot of the thoughts running through their heads, they're not even theirs. They're conditioning. Things they've absorbed from parents, teachers, society, trauma, and of course survival mode. Now, when you think I'm not good enough, that's not your true self talking. That's the conditioned belief. When you think I always mess things up, that's programming from someone else's voice that got lodged in your head. And when you think nothing ever works out for me, that's a survival pattern your mind created, to protect you. Now, your subconscious has been receiving these thoughts as truth for years and decades, stemming right back from early to late childhood and the echoing of ancestral survival patterns. But here's the powerful part. You can start feeding it different declarations. Not fake ones, but true ones, Ones that align with who you really are underneath all of the conditioning. Every thought is a declaration. It's a vote for which timeline you're going to step into. So you've got to think to yourself, are you voting for the conditioned identity or the true one? Now, for me, here's what happened when I started to become aware of my thoughts and I started to make better choices. After a while, my subconscious started accepting these as truth, and my whole experience just started to shift. And I noticed opportunities that I would have missed before. I've had conversations that wouldn't have happened, and I've made choices that I wouldn't have made. And this isn't because I'm becoming someone different, but it's because I started to remember who I actually was underneath all the conditioning once it started to strip away. And eventually I realised that the timeline shift was really just about choosing. Like, do I keep living from the false identity or do I give my true self permission to emerge? So how it all connects, okay, is you have a true self, and this true self has been there all along underneath all of our conditioning. But then you've also got conditioned thoughts running on repeat, and those thoughts have been programming your subconscious to keep you in the survival timeline, the accepted timeline, or the small timeline. Now, when you become aware and you start consciously choosing different thoughts, thoughts that align with your true self and your desires, you're programming your subconscious, and your subconscious influence your actions, and your actions determine which timeline you step into. Now, when you consistently step into the timeline of your true self through your thoughts, your body and your choices, then that becomes your life. and then you start to free yourself. You're not creating a new you, you're finally letting the real one just come through, and it's lovely. It's very freeing. So tomorrow morning, before you do anything, before you check your phone, before you start your normal routine, just take 5 minutes, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and ask yourself these 2 questions, okay? Number 1, which timeline am I stepping into today? The conditioned one or the true one? And second, what thought from my true self wants to really come through today? Maybe the conditioned self wants to rush and stress, but your true self knows I move with ease and I have what I need. Or maybe the conditioned self wants to doubt and hide, and your true self knows I trust myself and my voice matters. Or maybe the conditioned self wants to please and perform, but your true self knows I'm enough as I am. So listen to the voice underneath that conditioning, because that's your true self. And if you declare that truth to your subconscious, you know, it's going to make a big difference. So during your day, just notice your thoughts, especially the repetitive ones. And when you catch yourself thinking a conditioned thought, and I mean you will, you know, we all do, but don't beat yourself up. Just notice it and ask yourself, is this the conditioning talking or my true self? And if it's conditioning, which you will begin to know the difference, then let it pass. And then just listen for what your true self would say instead. You know, one small shift at a time, okay? So if you do this consistently, your subconscious will start remembering the truth of who you are, and your reality will shift to match it. Now remember, every thought you think is a declaration. Your subconscious is listening all of the time. So are you feeding it the conditioning or the truth of who you really are? Your true self is waiting underneath, and she's been there all along. So what I'd like to know, is this the time for you? Because if you're serious about this transformation work and you actually want to go deeper, then I'm building a community where we do this work together with real conversations and real transformation. Now the link is in the description below, and I would love for you to join me. So that's all for now, and see you next Monday for another video.
Break free from expectations that weigh you down. Find your own expression, wear your own crown.